KPU's Elder in Residence, Lekeyten, has worked as a First Nations presenter for more than 20 years. Natania Castillo will now ask him about his experience at KPU. When did you join the KPU community and why?
So you could go back 8 years, and we did a pilot one at KPU, and we introduced an elder in residence possibility. And so we put a series on at each campus, invited everyone, and then it went silent for about 2 years. And then Sunday night, I got a call from Al Davis at home here at 11 o'clock at night, and I didn't know who it was. I was doing other work at the time, and he said, "My name is Al Davis. I'm president of KPU." And I'm like, "Oh, must be important if it's 11 o'clock at night." And I said, "What can I do for you, Al?" And he said, he said, "I got a question for you." I'm like, "Oh yeah, okay, I'm good for questions. What is it?" And he said, "How would you like to be the first elder in residence at KPU?" And I thought about it for about 10 seconds. And I said, yeah. Oh, okay. I said, "What do I have to do?" And he said, "Just be yourself." "Oh yeah, I could do that." I said, "No problem there." I said, when would you like me to start?" And he said, "Tomorrow."
Oh, wow, that was fast.
I know, that's what I said.
What was your favorite story of a time at KPU, like an interaction you had with a faculty or a student that really stands out to you?
She came in with her dad, and she was 15 years old. And she knew she was graduating the next year, and she was trying to choose a university. And she was looking all around the campus that day, and they came in and they sat down and they started going over their history and culture of where they were. And it ended up she was back in Winnipeg, and we started talking about the history of the Métis people and her bloodlines and how she ended up on the West Coast. And later on, when she left that day, she said to her dad in her language that she has chosen her university. I didn't know what they were talking about. I just knew they were talking in her language.
Mm-hmm.
But she ended up coming to Kwantlen, and she ended up graduating in Kwantlen.
Oh, wow.
And when on graduation day, she hugged me so hard, and she said, "Do you remember when I came into your office that day to choose the university?" And I said, I do remember that." And I said, "I am so glad that you achieved a step in your life."
But what is something you would like to say to people new to the KPU community?
Well, at one point, our KPU community at one point was very, very large. And Kwantlen at one point had 10,000 people here. And so the diverse history that we had was so rich in our own culture. We actually looked after 6 other nations at one point, because that's how strong we were. Back then, if you could look after those people with that strong mentality of leadership, people trusted that.
What are you working on during the global pandemic?
We're about 1/3 of the way carving a 10-foot piece for Alder Grove Elementary, Parkside. It's a 10-foot yellow cedar pole, 3 feet wide, 10 feet long, and it's going to be a big, huge thunderbird holding a wolf. And on the wolf's shoulder is the eagle on the wolf's shoulder. Apparently, the legend of the school that wanted this done, the Thunderbird was their mascot. Each school has a mascot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Thunderbird was theirs for many, many, many years, and they had nothing to show the people outside the school that their every team that they have had something to do with the Thunderbird emblem. So when the principal and teachers sat down with my son Brandon, they chose the designs of the Thunderbird, and they also loved the story of when the Thunderbird brought the first wolf to the earth, and the eagle, how the eagle evolved from the Thunderbird. They loved that concept. So Brandon put together a design of a great big Thunderbird holding its wings around the wolf, and the wolf being cuddled by the thunderbird, and it's amazing. All yellow cedar, and we just start carving that last Tuesday, because before that it took us a month to prepare the log, and those things take time. And now we're off and running, and it won't take us long at all. Maybe another month and we'll be done.
So the last question is, what's one fact you would like everybody to know about you?
Truth. Whenever I speak of my history and my family, it's all about truth. And my father told me, I remember when I told him a long, long time ago that I was going to start working in the schools, talking about environment, salmon, animals, the winged ones, salmon people. I told him that the school board wants me to start working for them, and he said, I want to say something to you, son. He said, I want you to always speak the truth. Don't fabricate anything, because they know when you're lying to them. They know and feel it and hear it. But he said, I want you to be very, very, very careful how you speak to the younger ones, because they're the ones that are going to carry your stories. And just like how the elders told me the stories out of the longhouses and the mountains and the water. I remember them, they used to come into our classroom and sit us down and tell us the legends and the stories over and over and over and over until you remembered every word. So now when we teach it, we tell it, we say it like every word that we heard from our loved ones that are not here anymore. And there was so many funny stories about the teachings and the stories that they told us, because I think for every story they told us, there was about 10 or 20 different lessons in that story that you could depict and just be so thankful and humble that someone took the time to teach you. And my dad was one of them.